Another guy is going to take your future wife right now if you don't stop scrolling. Scrolling looks harmless at first, but it might be the exact thing that takes your future wife away from you without you even realizing it. I know exactly how it feels to scroll. It's weird, right? Because you just wanted to check what your friend sent you, but instead of doing that, you've just lost 40 minutes of your time. I know what you felt. You found a video that seemed reasonably productive, so after watching that video, you clicked on the person's account and you started looking at all the other videos that they made just to feel inspired. You might have even followed their account and then gone through other stuff that's relatable to that person. You feel numb, and you yourself truly know that TikTok and scrolling on Reels isn't helping you, and not only isn't it helping you, but it's robbing your time. And that empty feeling you got after, that's your brain literally telling you that you just traded some of your potential just for dopamine. The reason why scrolling's so bad and the reason why it's so cancerous isn't because of what you think. It isn't necessarily because of the time you lose, even though that is obvious. It's to do with a bunch of other factors, which I'm going to go into right now. The first thing that I've always noticed with people who scroll on TikTok, who go on Reels, is that the content that people are consuming is just so disgusting now. Like, compared to what it was a few years ago, TikTok and Instagram Reels has completely changed. The algorithm literally floods you with so much degenerate bullshit content that you can't even control. Not only is the content triggering, but it activates your attachment system and it activates your nervous system in the worst possible ways. The content people see literally triggers their sympathetic nervous system and it makes them go into fight or flight. It's weird how scrolling and just viewing content can activate such a primal part of the human body. Whenever you scroll, you're always seeing random OnlyFans models, you're seeing random other problems that are going on in the world. And all it is it's distracting you from your actual life and it's preventing you from taking the steps you need to become the man you want to be. During all of this, by the way, your nervous system is completely bombarded and overstimulated. Your brain never rests, even though you think it might be. So many people think that they're going to unwind by scrolling for 15 minutes, but if you actually did a brain scan, your brain's actually more active than it ever was. What's so bad about scrolling is the other effects it leads onto. It's not just scrolling itself, it's what it leads to, and it's like a tree of like different problems that happen. The most evident one is that scrolling literally destroys your health without you even noticing. The average person who scrolls ends up going to bed later, and then not only do they end up going to bed later, but they eat junk food alongside that, so they're sitting on their phone while scrolling, eating random shitty food. And then they wonder why their health's getting worse and they're getting more spots and they're basically seeing themselves degrade. So as a result of scrolling, people end up developing problems like acne, sleep insomnia, and all these other negative health maladies, which just really is a piss take if you ask me. But I'd say the biggest negative effect that I've seen of scrolling, and from what I've seen just in general, is that scrolling literally robs people of who they're supposed to be. In other words, it stops you from achieving your potential. Scrolling literally depletes your dopamine. So what that means is that the energy and the motivation you should have towards pursuing your goals and leveling up doesn't actually exist anymore because the fuel you need for that has quite literally just disappeared. Dopamine is a driving force of motivation and achieving huge goals. What scrolling does is it takes all of that away from you. It takes away the energy and the fuel you need towards doing things that are actually going to move your life forwards. When your dopamine is depleted, you have no energy and no motivation to do things like simple tasks. If you're supposed to go to the gym on one of the days, you might not actually end up going because of the dopamine you depleted from scrolling a bit of time before that. And let's say you end up going, right? You've been scrolling, your dopamine's depleted, but you still manage to get yourself to the gym. So many people I know just end up having the shittiest workouts and they don't actually train as properly as they need to be purely because of the dopamine they've just fried. Here's something that nobody that I know talks about, and it's something that I really want to clarify. It's become completely normalized now for people to scroll on TikTok all day and go on Instagram Reels for a few hours. It's completely normal for scrolling to not be a problem, and it's quite literally everywhere you go, and it's quite literally everywhere you see. It's like in America how everyone's obese and unhealthy, and it isn't healthy, but people have normalized that because it's just everywhere you go where you see obese people. It's crazy because the normal now is being weak, undisciplined, and dissatisfied with your life position. It's normal to be distracted and overstimulated when it just shouldn't be. And what's even worse about scrolling is that the negative effects aren't really seen when you really think about it. For example, if someone eats junk food and they're overeating and they're binge eating, you can clearly see that they're gaining weight and their skin's gone flare. But if someone's scrolling, you can't really tell straight away unless you have a conversation with them and you genuinely see who they are. Scrolling is like a hidden cancer people have, and it's not apparent until you actually see them and speak to them. With me, because I've moved away from social media and I don't scroll, I can very easily tell when someone's been scrolling and they don't have any discipline. When you've moved away from the cancers in the modern day, you can genuinely just see so clearly how many people scroll and have just shit dopamine. We've clarified what the problem is, but the reason why it isn't really seen as an issue is because schools, the backbone of basically bringing up children, has failed us. The thing about this specific problem, which is scrolling, is schools don't care. Schools are supposed to turn you into the best versions of yourself, right? They literally marketed us to this idea that if we went to school and we did well, we'd become successful. But it's also crazy how they never speak about problems like scrolling. The truth is, schools never care about what your actual problems are in your life and if your mental health's shit. All they want you to do is perform well academically so that they get a tick. They would rather you get A's than have shit mental health. This reminds me of when I was in school. I remember in year 10 and 11 of like high school or secondary school, there used to be these groups of girls and guys who were always in like set one for everything. So they would be in set one for everything and they were kind of like the popular group. And I remember just noticing that they did well in school, but outside of that, they were always partying on the weekends and uploading it to their stories. And they were always just doing other bad habits. And it kind of made it clear to me that these people do well academically, but they don't have anything else that's actually structuring their life. They do bad habits, they don't engage in anything healthy. Yet these are the people that are idolized in school. And you can probably think about that, right? There's probably been a group of people in your class, in your school, in your whatever, and they've just been idolized because they get good grades. But the truth is, does that really matter? Because the system is designed to just cut you off and basically just keep you under their view. If you're doing well in school and you're getting good grades, that's all that matters. What the worst part about school is you're trained to be a worker, not a man with control. And the scary truth to that is if they see that you're gaining control, they'll try and bring you back down by basically trying to get you on a leash. I remember when I was 14, there was this one night where I was scrolling up until 5 a.m. And with me, that wasn't actually surprising. I used to literally be on my phone until 4 or 5 a.m. scrolling on TikTok. And there was this one moment that changed everything for me. Usually with me, I would have just put my phone on the side and turned over and gone to bed. But this one random night, I just couldn't. I remember I put my phone down and tried to roll over to go to sleep, but my eyes were literally wide open and burning. I remember they were bloodshot and I just couldn't move and my mind was just constantly whirring. It was like my brain was a production factory and it just wouldn't stop. I remember as I was trying to fall asleep and I was just wide awake at 5 a.m, I remember just hearing bin men outside my house just taking the bins and going down the road. And then I remember I took a peek outside and there was this woman walking her dog. And that was the moment I realized that real life was happening without me. I genuinely realized how much of a subhuman I was because there was people living their normal lives and getting to work and doing their daily errands. And then there was just me just wide awake at 5 a.m. just after a binge session of scrolling. And then that was the definitive moment where I realized that I couldn't scroll anymore and I realized that I needed to change something. I remember the first thing I did was I went on my phone and I deleted TikTok straight away. No thinking, no processing, literally just pressed the button down and just deleted it. And the friends I had only sent me TikToks, like they didn't do anything else. We would only send TikToks to each other. Our whole friendship and the group we had was essentially just built on the same drug. And here's what's crazy and here's what nobody tells you. But when I quit TikTok and when I deleted it, I lost my whole group overnight. I remember I was essentially evicted from my friend group, all because I just deleted TikTok and I wasn't entertaining them anymore. It was the hardest thing that I went through as a teenager, and it's the hardest thing that any teenager would go through. You try to move away from a bad habit and you try to improve your life, but in response, you have everyone around you just scatter. The reason why I'm telling you this, and the reason why I'm telling you such a personal story, is because understand that this journey will be the hardest thing you go through. Everything around you is quite literally designed to hook you in and make you a bitch. You being here and listening to my story shows me that you're actually on the same page as me. You've kind of had enough of scrolling and you actually want to change your life. You being here also shows me that you've kind of had enough of just being low in life. You want to actually win and you want to take what's yours. And I'm telling you something now so you understand this early. Becoming disciplined will cost you comfort. It might cost you people. But the number one thing that I'm going to tell you right now is that it will give you your life back and you will have exactly what you want. So if you actually want to escape from this, if you actually want to dive into the next new chapter of your life where you're actually happy and smiling and you're actually winning in life, then follow these steps right now. The first step is something called the 1 hour rule, and it's something that I basically made, and it's that you don't use your phone 1 hour after waking up, so within the first 60 minutes of waking up, and 1 hour before bed. This one habit will change your mood, your sleep, and everything about you. Even if you scroll, by the way, even if you stay on TikTok, if you just do this one habit that I'm talking about, the 1 hour rule, where you don't use your phone 1 hour before bed, and you don't use your phone within the first 60 minutes of waking, your life's immediately just gonna change. If you want to take things to the next level, then the next step I say to do is delete the worst app that's causing you the most problems right now. For most of you, if I'm going to be honest, that's TikTok. So make sure you delete it. Don't overthink, don't process things, don't ask people, don't tell people you're doing it. For the love of God, don't tell people you're deleting TikTok. Just literally delete the app and never look back. The next thing is track your daily screen time. It's kind of bizarre to me how everyone's on their phone, but they never track their screen time. With me, I'm always someone who's tracking my screen time, and I'm gonna try and pop up on screen somewhere exactly how I have my home screen. It's the most stupidest, the most cleanest, the most minimalistic home screen you'll ever see, and it's the reason why I've made so much progress. Putting the widget on your home screen creates accountability, and that accountability creates responsibility. What you've just done now is you've put the screen time on your home screen, and now you're actually going to be way more accountable from what you're seeing. I know I've shot through every habit pretty quickly, but I just want you to understand this. These aren't motivational tips at all. What these are identity changing actions, which is going to turn you exactly into the person you want to be. And here's the part nobody tells you. Change doesn't start with just doing a habit or just changing a few things. You need to start seeing yourself as different to everyone else. You need to literally walk into rooms, walk into public places, and look around and think, I'm the only one that does X, and this is why I'm going to get to a certain place. You could literally walk into any classroom in school and just start to think to yourself, I'm the only person here who doesn't scroll, which makes me so valuable. You need to see yourself as a winner. Say to yourself that you're not like everyone else, and make it clear to yourself that you're choosing the harder path now for ultimate success in the future. Remember that each step takes you closer to your goal, and your results, they'll be undeniable. And here's something I'm going to tell you about me. The life I live now is the exact life I visualized 2 years ago when I was dead broke scrolling. I visualized this moment and who I am now before I even became that person. You don't quit scrolling because your life improves. Your life improves because you quit scrolling. I want you to stay on this journey because I want you to feel the same level of happiness that I felt. I want you to genuinely just feel happy again, and I want you to experience true freedom. And here's the truth, right? Here's the honest truth of this entire video. Everything you're waiting for, everything you want, everything you deserve, and everything you're striving for is on the other side of this horrible addiction. It's hard to move away from scrolling, I get it, I've been there. But you need to see yourself as a warrior going into battle when you're moving away from these addictions, because it quite literally is. You're the only person right now in your area, in your school, in your city, that is actively choosing to move away from this. Also remember that people need you right now, and your future wife is waiting at the end of the tunnel. When you're achieving your goals and you're taking each step to move away from scrolling and all these bad habits, you're getting closer and closer to the life you want to live. And not only are you getting closer to the life you want to live, you're getting closer to your future wife. Your future self is relying on the choice you're going to make right now, so don't let him down. I'm in this fight with you, and we're going to take down all of the cancers that are in this modern day. We're going to fight this war together, and we're going to emerge with our hands raised. I'll be with you at every step of the way, and I'm going to make sure that you take what's yours. If you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe right now, because I'm building a community of young men that are ready to bounce back from everything the modern day is throwing at them. I'm building a community of young men who are finally ready to step into the new. I've got more videos coming soon, so make sure you check them out. But as always, there's one last thing I always say, and it's that always strive for excellence, because great things will come your way.